Well, hello. What I'd like to share with you today is some thoughts about what I call establishing floors. Establishing floors in fundraising. You think about a home. You have your basement, your ground floor. You have your first, second, your third floors perhaps. You put a roof on top of it. You have yourself a home. Well, in fundraising, we need to establish floors. And we create programs, oftentimes a series of programs that enable us to establish floors. And what floors enable us to do is to, as fundraisers, always invite donors to continue to give, to elevate their giving over time, and as they do so, to be recognized for being so generous to our organizations. When I arrived at the University of Missouri St. Louis in August of 2008, we had just completed 3 years of the first comprehensive fundraising campaign in the history of this young university. So I arrived, we had 4 years to go. And what existed at that time at the university was a society called the Pierre Laclede Society. And this society was started at the beginning of the campaign to encourage annual giving of $1,000 or greater. Now, through significant efforts on the part of the fundraising group that was there at that time, over those 3 years, by the end of the third year, there had been as many as 425 that were now giving at $1,000 or more. A great start. And in the years since then, up until the conclusion of our fiscal year 2014, so some 9 years later, that group has grown from 425 to 1,510. And of course, we want to take it to 2,000, 2,500, and well beyond as time goes on. But again, this became a part of the annual giving of the university, and in the context of the campaign, created opportunities through correspondence, through direct interaction with donors and prospective donors to begin giving at $1,000 or $2,500 or $5,000 a year to the university to support the many worthy opportunities that exist there at the university, all of which added up within the context of our campaign. There was also what was called the Auguste-Chateau Society, and the Auguste-Chateau Society was a society for individuals that recognized donors that over the course of time had made commitments, both current and deferred, of $100,000 or greater. So let's say a donor over their lifetime had up to this point given $20,000 outright, established a scholarship with us for $30,000, maybe to be paid over 5 years, and then also said that they would put in their wills, they communicate this in writing, a bequest of no less than $50,000 for the university. You add the 20 plus the 30 plus the 50 deferred, that's $100,000, and that would make that person or persons, couple, eligible for our Auguste-Chateau Society. But that was it. $100,000 was the threshold that we had at that point. So when I arrived, we began conversations and we created what we call the Partners for Greatness. And the Partners for Greatness was a campaign giving device starting at $1 million for both individuals and organizations. Now, in the first 3 years of that campaign, we had 3 donors that had made commitments of 7 figures. In the next 4 years, using this Partners for Greatness as a device to have conversations with prospective donors or donors we are going to yet again, we would talk to them about reaching that $1 million level and joining with others in providing significant leadership to the university and to ensure success for this important campaign and its goals. And in those 4 years, we added 28 additional 7-figure donors to the university and to the fundraising campaign, in addition to the original 3 when I arrived. 31. 3 plus 28, 31. And again, this $1 million level created an opportunity for us to talk about it with donors, to talk about it with organizations, then to talk about others who are, as they began to say yes and be responsive, to be able to point to other organizations and individuals that were now at $1 million or more and invite others to step up and join with them. It created momentum, it created excitement. And in the fall, when we have what we call our annual Founders event, we would bring these people and representatives of these organizations, as well as those who have reached the Auguste Chateau Society, onto the stage in front of 850 people at our Founders event at the Ritz-Carlton, what I love to call a rock and roll and heck of a good UMSL time, and honor them and they would in effect use their own examples before everyone in the community to say, this is important enough for us to make this kind of sacrifice to support this important institution and the many, many missions within the institution that are so important to this community and providing education in this community. Well, this campaign concluded in June 2012, and the Partners for Greatness went away. It was a campaign device. There was no longer an opportunity for additional Partners for Greatness. So I was perplexed at first and wanted to know, what are we going to do next while we're not in a campaign to stimulate major gift giving? And here's what we did. In consultation with our Chancellor's Council, our senior most advisory group to the university, and to our Chancellor of the university, and having talked with numerous of our major donors, both individuals and organizations, we recreated our Auguste Chateau Society. And rather than limiting it to individuals, we created an organizational category as well. And within this Auguste Chateau Society, under the umbrella, we created a series of milestones. So now there's opportunities for significant recognition as donors when you reach a milestone. And our milestones currently are $100,000, then $250,000, $500,000, $1 million, $2.5 million, $5 million, and $10 million. And I hope I'm around to add a $25 million level. Oh heck, while we're at it, make it a $100 million level. But the point is, what this provides for us as fundraisers and as an institution is ongoing opportunities to talk with our donors about continuing to elevate their giving in order to address important opportunities and needs at the university, and suggesting milestones that they might stretch to next in order to provide additional leadership. By reaching a milestone, being on the stage, we publicize those who reach these milestones. It encourages, it challenges others to step forward and to do more than what they've done up until this point. So in the last 2 years, what we've found, as this has been almost surprisingly impactful. I remember one donor saying to me, well, so-and-so, they're at $500,000. Well, we can't get there right away, but we're going to go from 100 to 250, and we want to be on the stage this fall. And we've had others that we're able to say, in order to provide leadership to this university, we need to have more and more donors cumulatively at $2.5 million. Would you step up and do so? And in so doing, address this need or that opportunity to which you are already so committed. And they say yes. Now we know that donors, and certainly our donors at the University of Missouri St. Louis, they're not about recognition. They're about making something happen with their charitable dollars for the good of the world, for the good of others. But with very, very few exceptions, they don't mind a little recognition along the way. And I'll tell you what, we do a wonderful job at our Founders event, and we take other steps in terms of stewardship to recognize these donors now when they go from milestone to milestone. So back to the beginning, these are ways of establishing floors as you create a fundraising program that creates sustainability. We should have the Auguste Chateau Society at the University of Missouri St. Louis 100 years from now, and with hopefully those additional levels too, and lots of donors giving it increasingly amounts of money over time as time goes on and as they're approached over time by the university and its representatives, people like you and me, to support these worthy, and important, vitally important causes. Well, I would be interested in what you think about this. I would imagine in your organization you already have one or more of these kinds of programs that create floors for conversations with donors. I'm wondering how you approach it, what kind of success or challenges you may have faced or experienced, and if so, please go to the forum and let me know, share with others what in fact your experience has been. Thank you so much for listening.